Bueno, le damos la bienvenida a todas las personas que empiezan a unirse a este webinar informativo. El día de hoy les vamos a brindar información fundamental sobre la Universidad de Melbourne en Australia. Así que bueno, claramente si entre sus intereses académicos está el hecho de hacer una maestría o doctorado en esta gran institución académica, este es el espacio ideal para que resuelvan todas sus dudas y profundicen quizás la información que ya tienen. En adición, quiero aquí hacer un breve paréntesis y contarles que este mes de septiembre tenemos una gran variedad de webinars informativos para todos ustedes. Así que si sus planes académicos están encaminados en estudiar en universidades de Australia y España con las que COLFUTURO tiene convenio, estos espacios van a ser los indicados. Entonces, los invitamos a estar muy pendientes de nuestra página web y nuestras redes sociales. Bien, el día de hoy los acompañaré yo en esta sesión. Mi nombre es Karen Martínez, soy asistente del área de Consejería Académica y Relaciones Internacionales de Colfuturo y me encuentro con Samantha Fossi. Ella es Senior Manager Offshore Students de la Universidad de Melbourne y nos hablará el día de hoy sobre su oferta académica, opciones de financiación, de hospedaje y recomendaciones y consejos en general para todos ustedes. Adicionalmente, quiero recordarles a todos que Colfuturo tiene justo un convenio con la Universidad de Melbourne que consta particularmente de un descuento del 20% en la matrícula para beneficiarios de Colfuturo que deseen hacer un Master by Coursework en las facultades de Architecture, Building and Planning, Arts, Engineering and Information, Fine Arts and Music, Melbourne Law School, Medicine, Dentistry and Health Science. Asimismo, también tenemos en este convenio un 25% de descuento en Melbourne Graduate School of Education y 10% de descuento en Faculty of Business and Economics. Así que sin más preámbulos, antes de darle la palabra a Samantha, le quiero recordar a todos ustedes que cualquier duda, inquietud o comentario que tengan, pueden dejarlo en el cajón de Q&A y junto con Samantha, al terminar esta sesión, vamos a estar abordándolos. Perfecto. Samantha, it's a great pleasure to have you here today. So you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm very happy to be joining you all today for your evening, my morning. So as the introduction said, my name is Sam and I work at the University of Melbourne. I manage a lot of different teams around the world who talk to future students, including in Latin America. So hopefully what I've prepared is of interest to you, and if you do have questions, we have time at the end to answer some of those. So let's get into it. So many of you are probably familiar with Australia, but we in Melbourne are in the south end of Australia, so you can see there in the state of Victoria. Australia is a very large country with all of its cities on coasts, and so we're on the south coast of Australia, and we'll talk a little bit more about what the city of Melbourne is like. So the city of Melbourne is very large, very multicultural. We have just over 5 million people in the city of Melbourne. And in the state where Melbourne is based, about half of the people who live there were born overseas. So it's very multicultural. We're very good at welcoming people from all around the world to the city of Melbourne. In terms of, I guess, what the city is like, it's a city you have to experience. So lots of cities around the world have famous landmarks. You might think of Paris and you think of the Eiffel Tower. You might think of Sydney and think of the Opera House or the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Melbourne doesn't really have anything like that. Melbourne is something you have to experience. Being in Melbourne, it's something in the air. It's something that you can't describe. When people think of Melbourne, they think of how friendly people are, how easy it is to get around, how clean it is, how green the open spaces are, how nice the buildings are, and how there is everything that you need in Melbourne. And so Melbourne is ranked currently as the number 4 most livable city in the world at the moment. And it is ranked number 5 in terms of the best student cities. And when we look at those rankings, they're talking about access to public spaces and infrastructure and safety and all of those things we have in Melbourne. Melbourne is also a hub for culture, music, sports, and arts. So we would be the sporting capital of Australia. And every band that is, touring and visiting Australia comes to Melbourne. Every theatre show comes to Melbourne. We have festivals and activities every week. In Melbourne, I think there's about 3,000 live music shows. And so it's a place where you can live and you don't have to plan your weekends, you don't have to plan your evenings, because there is always something happening. So you can just go into the city and find out what's happening. And the access to public transport is also a very big positive for international students living in Melbourne. So the university itself, it is about 160 years old, and we're currently ranked number 1 in Australia and number 13 in the world. We're also ranked number 8 in the world for graduate employability. So rankings show one picture, and rankings aren't everything, but they are important, especially for international students, to demonstrate that students who study at the University of Melbourne have an academically rigorous degree that employers around the world recognise. So if you get a degree from Melbourne, employers are going to know that that's a high quality degree taught in a very rigorous way, and recognised, and reflected in your employment opportunities. So we're very proud of our rankings. Currently, we have over 60,000 students, and about 40% of those students are from overseas or are international students from about 150 countries. So every year, students from Colombia come to study at the University of Melbourne, as well as broader Latin America and South America. So we have a big contingent, an active contingent of Latin American students on campus from Colombia, Chile, Peru, and so we always obviously want to support to join us at the University of Melbourne. We have 7 campuses currently. Our Parkville campus is our main campus. So the Parkville campus is where most of our degrees are taught. Some of the other campuses that we offer include South Bank. That's where our fine arts and music courses are taught. Burnley is a horticulture campus, as you can tell from the picture. We also have Dookie, which is our farm campus, and Creswick, which is our forestry and ecosystem science campus. Werribee is our veterinary health campus, and Shepparton is our rural health campus. So the main campus is Parkville, and then we have a suite of more specialised disciplines taught in other campuses. So this is the Parkville campus, and this is one of my favourite pictures of the University of Melbourne, because you get to see exactly where we're based. So everything within the yellow line is the campus of the University of Melbourne, and you can see that we're right on the edge of the Melbourne Central Business District, or the CBD. So our campus has its own zip code, its own suburb, and everything within the walls of the campus is our campus community. But we're also right on the edge of the city. So for a lot of students, they want to have a city experience, a Melbourne city experience, but they also want to have an on-campus experience. And we are able to offer both, which we're very excited to do. In the picture at the bottom of the screen is the on-campus accommodation via residential colleges. And you can see in the centre of the campus is our sporting facilities, including a big cricket oval, and we also play Australian rules football on that large oval. And then the upper half of the circle is our academic buildings. So you can see that's where our classrooms, lecture theatres, seminar rooms are all located. So I've got some pictures just to show you a little bit more closely what the campus looks like. So this is our south lawn. This is the centre of our campus and one of the most iconic places on campus. You can see our clock tower. And so students love to study here and, lounge about in the sun. This is our Melbourne Connect. So this is where our Faculty of Engineering and IT is based, as well as a whole host of other research and commercial endeavours. This is the inside of our Melbourne School of Design, so where our architecture or construction management, urban planning, landscape architecture students would study. And in the very centre, that is a suspended or a hanging classroom. So inside is actually a classroom. And then this is our Faculty of Science and Veterinary Science building, or our WEBS building, we call it, Western Edge Biosciences building, which is one of our newer buildings on campus. And then finally, this is our arts building, so where we teach social sciences, humanities, and arts-related subjects. So Karen mentioned it at the start of the presentation, but we offer a variety of study areas. So these on the screen are the fields or the areas where we offer master's degrees. And so on our website, which you can see on the link, on the slide, you can search for any course or keyword that you're interested in, and it will generate a list of courses that we offer. But these are the broad areas that we offer. Most universities in Australia are comprehensive. So that means universities teach everything that's available. And we very often get questions about what is the best thing to study at the University of Melbourne, or what is the most popular, or what are we known for? So this slide shows you that we offer 50 different discipline areas or 50 different fields that are ranked in the top 100 globally. So you can see across the fields that, our education programs, so teaching and education, are ranked number 13 in the world. You can see that our law school is ranked number 10 in the world. You can see that what else have we got? For our anatomy and physiology, we're ranked number 12 in the world. And so I won't go through all of the areas, but you can see the University of Melbourne is recognised as one of the best providers of education in these fields, which is really exciting for COLFUTURO recipients, because obviously it means that if you come to Australia, which is a long way away from Colombia, that you're going to be joining some of the best teachers and some of the best students in the world in these fields. So a little bit about our curriculum, or the way that our education is structured. And I will focus on the graduate study or the master's study, because obviously as COLFUTURO recipients, that's your focus. So we offer bachelor degrees and master's degrees. We offer 9 bachelor degrees, and we offer over 400 master's level qualifications or degrees. After students have done their undergraduate degree or their bachelor degree here at the University of Melbourne, or at another university in Australia or around the world, then they are eligible to study one of our master's degrees. We offer a variety. So we offer specialised graduate programs or specialised master's degrees in all fields. Some of them require you to have a related background, and some of them you don't need to have any previous study in that area. We also offer professional master's degrees. So professional master's degrees are master's degrees where you require a qualification to practice. So things like Master of Engineering, or Doctor of Medicine, or Master of Architecture, Doctor of Dentistry, Juris Doctor, which is our law qualification. So we offer qualifications that are accredited in Australia and overseas, depending on where you plan to work, that qualify you in fields. So anything where you need to be accredited to practice, doctor, dentist, engineer, lawyer, psychologist, teacher, we offer qualifying programs. And then in other fields like business or social sciences, or broader sciences, we offer qualifications that enhance or allow you to specialise in that field. We also offer research programs, and so from these master's level programs that we offer, you can enter the workforce or pursue further study. So I'll just touch on the application process. So in Australia, the academic year starts in February. So the academic year follows a calendar year. So semester 1 starts in February and semester 2 starts in July. Most of our courses you can start in semester 1 in February, or you can start in semester 2 in July. So most courses will be available to start in either of those times. Some courses are only available in February, so it's important just to check and make sure you know which intakes or which starting dates the course that you're interested in is available. In June is our winter. June and July is our winter, and the summer break is December, January, and February. So I know that for most of for COLFUTURO recipients, you have a period of time that you can use your scholarship or your sponsorship. So the next available intake is semester 1 2025, and then semester 2 2025, and the years go on like that. So the most important thing is to check your eligibility. So on our website, we have a very detailed way to understand if you're eligible for a course, and I'll show you how to do that. And if you are eligible, then you can submit your application online. You can apply through either an education agent that we work with in Colombia, and you can find a list of those on our website, or you can apply directly online to the university. There is an application fee of 130 Australian dollars, and you could talk to your education agent if you apply that way about having that fee waived. So recipients of COLFUTURO can have the application fee waived. Timelines for processing an application. It can take about 2 months to process an application. So we always recommend that you apply as early as possible and with as much detail as possible so that we can process your application quickly. And if you apply in advance, so if you apply now for semester 2 2025, then usually we start looking at applications around March. For semester 1, we start looking at applications around September. So right now we're focusing on assessing applications for semester 1 2025. And then in March, we'll start focusing on applications for semester 2 2025, and so on. So let's talk a little bit more about our graduate degrees. What you can see there is our Melbourne Law School. So if you study law at the University of Melbourne, this is the building that you would study in. And it's one of my favourite buildings on campus. So I talked a little bit about this, but just to reiterate, we offer Masters by Coursework, so subject-based study in either professional development areas or professional entry areas. We also offer graduate research programs, and so those can be a Masters by Research or a PhD. For most of our courses, what we're looking at is your academic performance in your bachelor degree. So if you received a bachelor degree in Colombia or somewhere else around the world, we'll be looking at your GPA. We'll also be looking at your English language proficiency, and so students can provide evidence that they meet the English language requirements through the submission of an accepted English language test. There are some other ways, so definitely have a look on our website if you've studied in an English speaking country before, but for the most part, most students will complete an English language test. So those two things, the academic requirement and the English language test, they're required for all of our degrees. And then there may be other requirements depending on the degree you're interested in. So for example, if you're interested in the Master of Architecture, it requires submission of a portfolio of previous design work. If you're interested in some of our business school programs, some of them require the submission of a GMAT or GRE test. Not all of them, but some of them do. Other programs might consider your work experience or ask you to complete a personal statement. So on our website, you can check the exact requirements for the course you're interested in. noting that they vary depending on which. So we offer a graduate coursework grade conversion eligibility calculator. So a long word, a long way of saying that online we have a calculator that allows you to put in what course you're interested in studying, your previous previous university that you went to, the GPA that you got, and it will tell you if you're eligible for that course or not. So it's a good way to understand what courses you might be in, what courses you might be suitable to. Oh, sorry, the light just went off in the room that I'm in. Just move around a bit. Our lights are on a timer in our office. So this is a good way to see, to get a feel for your eligibility for a course. And we know that students find it really helpful getting a good indication about if they'll be accepted. For research programs, it's very similar, except that in addition to your academic performance and your English language proficiency, we would also look at research experience. So have you studied research before? What have you undertaken research before, and what have you done? And also things like a research proposal or support from a potential supervisor, references, publications, and so forth. So a little bit more focus on past research experience if you're interested in applying to a course that's a research course. And so just a note on PhD study, if you're interested in PhD study, you can first see what research areas that we offer. And also find a potential supervisor online using our Find an Expert website. So there's a QR code on this slide just for any potential researchers out there. And we do have a number of students from Latin America undertaking research degrees with us each year. So I mentioned this before, but just to outline what the academic calendar looks like. So February, our semester starts on the 3rd of March. And the week before that, we have orientation week. So the week is when we would have orientation. So on campus, it's a week of activities. Some of them are optional. Some of them might be compulsory for your course. And it's a good way to make friends, to meet people, celebrate, go on tours, that kind of thing. Then the semester is 12 weeks in duration. So each semester is 12 weeks. So the first one being the 3rd of March to the 1st of June. And then the exam period is the month of June. So you may have a number of exams depending on which course you do. So across June, they'll be scheduled. Then the month of July is our winter holiday. So you have 1 month of holiday in winter in July. Then the semester starts again, and it's the same pattern, with the month of November being for exams, which means that December, January, and February are summer holidays. So our summer is over the Christmas period, which means that it's beach days, sunshine, barbecues, parks, that kind of thing, which is a really, really fun way to celebrate Christmas, even though it can be quite hot. And lots of international students love being in Australia in that period of time. So I mentioned at the start, we have very active students on campus. We offer over 200 clubs and societies, so you can join. There's clubs based on common interests, so like food, or there's cultural clubs or clubs based on your background, where you're from. There's spiritual clubs. There's a whole host of different clubs on campus that you can join. We offer a lot of enrichment activities and volunteering opportunities. And I also flagged Melbourne University sports. So Australia is a very sporting focused country. And certainly at the university, we offer about 45 different types of sport. Things like things that are very Australian, like Australian rules football, cricket and rugby, but we also offer soccer, tennis and racket sports, basketball, netball, in indoor sports like volleyball, as well as athletics, track and field, swimming, all of those kind of things. So we do have a pool on campus, a gym on campus, fitness classes, and open access to running tracks and sporting fields. We also offer a lot of support to students, both international and domestic students that are studying with us. And our provider of student support is Stop One. So it's called Stop One because it's your one-stop shop for all the support you might need, including academic, careers-based support, enrichment support, health and well-being, financial, accommodation, everything you can think of, you start at Stop One, and either they provide you with the support you need or they refer you to a service that can support you. So we have a health and well-being service at the university, which includes medical clinics, as well as counselling and psychological services. We also offer, financial support and advising, legal, special access and disability support services. We really have everything covered. The idea is that we can support students with whatever they need to ensure that their health and well-being is prioritised and they're able to succeed in the program that they're studying. So the most important thing as a student at the University of Melbourne is to contact someone if you need support, because the support is widely available and we have a lot of people at the university who want to help students. So the only thing you have to do is make contact and everything else will happen accordingly. We also offer a very broad range of careers services. Our careers services are for domestic and international students all the same. So we offer things like internships and industry-based projects and ways to get career-based experience whilst you're studying. We also offer a lot of different ways to refine your profile or improve your, job-seeking abilities. So things like resume support services, work opportunities that are only available to students, information about the career market of the industry that you're looking to move into, practice interviews, all of that kind of thing. So we really, want to ensure that you have the best chance of success in your chosen career, whether that be in Australia or abroad. And so we have a whole career services that's designed to help support your success. And then just finally on accommodation. So the university offers a broad range of accommodation. Some of our accommodation providers could be seen on that initial campus map. And so I'll just talk through the different types of accommodation that we offer. So residential colleges are on-campus dormitory style living. So it's similar to USA dormitory style or UK dormitory style living, where you live with lots of other students, you all have your own bedrooms, and then you might share facilities. So residential colleges include pastoral support, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, sports, facilities, tutoring, that kind of thing. It's an all inclusive experience, and students can be part of a residential college for 1 year, for their whole degree. It really depends. So those are on campus or very close to campus. Student apartments are apartment-style living or apartment buildings that the university itself owns or has an agreement with. So this is more independent style living, and for graduate students, often, what they're looking for. So you live in an apartment, an apartment building. It might be a studio apartment or it might be a shared apartment with other people. You have your own bedroom and bathroom and, private kitchen and lounge room that either is your own or that you share with the people that you live with in apartment buildings where only other students of the University of Melbourne live. So those are also around the edges of our campus. Those are more independent, I would say, where you can cook your own meals, but they also offer pastoral support or enrichment opportunities, social opportunities with the other people that live there. Homestays are where you live with an Australian family, and student hostels are hostel-style living just for students. And so those are probably two of our lesser popular options. Or you can live in a share house, so in an apartment or a house with other students or with other people, like you would anywhere in the world. So you can privately rent in Melbourne, and there's good availability of apartments and that kind of thing. It really depends on your preference for how independent you'd like to be, how much privacy you'd like to have, that kind of thing when you're looking at accommodation. So our website on the screen allows you to filter all these options, see the prices, see the structure of what we offer, and also allow you to apply for student accommodation. So students can apply to student accommodation at the same time that they apply to their course. They're through separate portals, but you can apply to student accommodation before you have an offer to the University of Melbourne. And of course, it would be your place in student accommodation would be conditional on gaining admission to the university. So this gives you a little overview of some of the providers and the costs and what's included. So Little Hall, Lisa Belair House, and the Lofts are University of Melbourne owned student accommodation. The Lofts is a graduate only student accommodation. And we actually saw a picture of it earlier in the presentation where I said that we were looking at the Faculty of Engineering and IT. It's a very colourful building. There's a line there about residential colleges, and then Uni Lodge, Lincoln House, and Student Village. They're residential colleges. They're student apartment buildings that we have partnerships with. So they're very close to the campus. They're independent providers, but we have partnerships. And then there's some other line items, so including about private or shared rentals in Melbourne. So this gives you an idea about the variable costs and inclusions for accommodation in Melbourne. So the cost of living in Melbourne, the Australian government suggests that living in Melbourne costs at least 25,000 Australian dollars per year. And that includes your rent and accommodation, food, utilities and bills, and transport costs. So when you're coming to the University of Melbourne, outside of the tuition fees, things to think about is the cost of accommodation, of your overseas student health cover, and living expenses and course materials. So on the right, this gives you an idea about the cost of different food. So coffee on campus is about $4.50 to $5, and around the world we find that coffee is a good indicator of the cost of living. So I have a big coffee every morning, or you can't see it, there we go, big coffee every morning, that costs $6. I live in the city, but probably go somewhere a bit more expensive than campus. The cost really depends on your lifestyle as well. So you can obviously live large, spend more money, go out, eat meals out, that kind of thing, engage in a lot of entertainment. But you can also live more frugally, so prepare your own food, walk or take public transport, those kind of things. So we're nearly at the end of the formal presentation. So these are some useful links that just show you how to find a course and how to apply, and the different entry requirements or English language requirements that we offer. The website is a really, really fantastic resource for international students in learning about the courses that they're interested in. The final thing I'll mention is just about scholarships and about our agreement with COLFUTURO. So the University of Melbourne does offer scholarships. They really vary depending on the course that you're interested in. So students are automatically considered for scholarships when they apply to the university, and the scholarships are largely awarded on the basis of academic merit. So the higher your grades or GPA in your undergraduate degree, the more likely you are to get a scholarship if one is available. Different disciplines or areas have more scholarships than others. So, for example, the Faculty of Business and Economics or business programs, there is a wide variety of scholarships available. Engineering and IT also has a lot of scholarships, but some other courses have different offerings depending on the course. Which is why I didn't put a slide in the presentation, because for graduate students, it really depends on which course you're interested in. But on our website, we have a scholarships repository, so a searchable database of all the scholarships that we offer. So you can search for scholarships you might be eligible for, and they may be awarded, or you may be considered for those. I know that this was mentioned at the start of the presentation as well, but obviously we have an agreement with COLFUTURO, which, depending on the course that you undertake or the area that it's in, a certain percentage tuition fee discount is applied for COLFUTURO. Now let's see, I think that's the end. So I might stop sharing my screen, and we can go to questions.
Well, Samantha, thank you so much for this information. That's absolutely interesting. And actually, University of Melbourne sounds so amazing. Well, now we have some questions for you through the chat. So, well, maybe some topics you mentioned, but okay, if you can remember us, it's perfect. Well, Paula is asking, do you have a master degree related to the environment, and what is needed to apply?
So we do have a couple of degrees related to the environment, depending on which aspect, but probably the best one to start with is the Master of Environment. So our Master of Environment is a very, very flexible, customizable degree focused on different aspects of the environment. So depending on your interest, you can structure the degree to focus more on aspects that suit your career aspirations. So for the Master of Environment, we're at least looking for you to meet the English language requirements and also the academic requirements, so the GPA or the your performance in your bachelor degree. So there may be additional requirements for the Master of Environment, but those are the starting ones. And so you can put your bachelor degree into the grade conversion eligibility calculator, and it will tell you if you're eligible for the Master of Environment.
And now we have a question from Paula, and it's about IELTS, or in general about English requirements. So what IELTS or TOEFL score should I have to be accepted?
Great question. So the English language requirements vary depending on the course. So the minimum IELTS that we accept is a 6.5, no band lower than 6. So that's the minimum. And then for different courses, it may be higher. So a lot of our courses require a 7 IELTS as well. So it depends on the course. And then the TOEFL score is related. So it might start at, I think, in the 70s or 80s and goes up with the IELTS score. So best to check the specific degree that you're interested in, because they all have different English language requirements.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, Angelica is asking, how much time do we have to apply for 2025 second semester?
Great question. So some of the courses will close at the end of January. So for semester 2, some will close at the end of January, and then some will close across the period until the end of April. So a lot of courses will close at the end of April to start in semester 2. But again, it depends on the course as to when the applications close. So best to check the program and the application deadline.
Thank you so much. Well, now, what is the grading scale for being accepted?
So it really depends on the academic requirement, depends on the program. Sorry to say that again, but each program has a different academic level required. For students studying with a 4.0 GPA scale, which I think is most common, a 4 or 5 point scale is most common, you can type your GPA into the calculator and it will tell you what is required for the program that you're interested in. So some might require a 3.2 or a 3.5 or a 3.8. It really depends on the course as to the performance, academic performance level required.
Perfect. Well, can a student work while studying for a master's degree?
Yeah, the answer is yes, but I have to clarify by saying it's important to check and adhere to the requirements of a student visa. So Australian student visas do allow students to work while they study, and they tell you how much you can work during the semester and how much you can work during the holidays, the breaks. So the Australian government determines that for student visa holders, and sometimes it changes, but for the most part, it's it used to be about 10 or 20 hours in a 1 or 2 week period. But again, important to check that because I'm not an expert on visas, but you can work when you study. Most students will be working when they study. So most just like domestic students and many international students will have a part-time job in retail, hospitality, or administration while they're studying their master's degrees. Important to check your visa.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, do you have any funding option like assistantship, any like teaching assistance or researching assistance?
We don't offer funding in that exact model. We do offer paid positions at the university for students, so like researching assistant roles or tutor roles. So students can be employed by the university while they're studying, and that may be, again, in administration or it could be as a tutor or as a researcher, that kind of thing. So it's not a formal program, it's just normal employment. And so our advice usually to students who are interested in becoming a tutor or supporting a researcher is, often like making connection with an academic staff member or a lecturer at the university can really help you to find employment opportunities in that field. But also we advertise those roles on our Careers Online website so students can apply.
Thank you so much. Well, it is possible to have a certification for being a teacher just by doing a master in education, or it's mandatory to choose a program of teaching itself?
Great question. So the Master of Education won't qualify students to become a teacher. So that's a really important distinction. The Master of Education allows you to specialise in a field of education. So students can be teachers already, or they don't have to be, but it will allow you to go in depth or specialise in an area of education, but it won't allow you to become a teacher. So the only program at the university that enables students to become teachers is our Master of Teaching.
Perfectly. Well, how is the process to find a tutor for the research program?
So for research programs, it's best to use our website, Find an Expert. So findanexpert.unimelb.edu.au. That is where you can search for researchers open to being supervisors based on their research field. That's I just want to check the question. That's what the question is asking. Yes, good.
Perfect. Yes. Well, does University of Melbourne have PhD in public policy? I checked twice, I couldn't find. I don't know if there's an interdisciplinary institute that encompasses a public policy program.
Yes. So we offer a Master of Public Policy, but we also do offer PhD programs in the broad social sciences field that public policy sits in. So it might be a good idea to look at our PhD in arts. So arts, even though it sounds like fine arts or like music, arts is more of our social sciences, humanities, public policy, government study field. So we offer a PhD in arts, and then within that, your thesis or your research can focus on a sub area, so something like public policy.
Well, and Angelica asked, do we get information about the scholarship before or after applying?
So students will only find out if they've received a scholarship after they have an offer to the University of Melbourne. So you can access information on the website about scholarships that you might be eligible for. But it will only be after your application is assessed for the course and you're made an offer that then you may be made an offer for a scholarship. Some scholarship offers come with the course offer. Some scholarship offers might come a couple of weeks or 2 weeks after the course offer. And it's important to flag that students who don't receive a scholarship won't be notified. So it's only if you do receive one that you'll get notification.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, do you offer research internship?
Not that I'm aware. So for the course of study, so our programs may offer some kind of internship component, but we don't offer them as a standalone course. Or you may seek employment at the university in the field of research.
Perfect. And to conclude, Paula is asking if you could send us your contact, for example, your email or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I can type it in the
Yeah.
I can type it in the answer. Yeah, should I put it in the chat?
In the chat. That's perfect.
Yes, I'll type my email in the chat.
That's perfect. Thank you. Well, Samantha, thank you again for this amazing opportunity to share this information for our attendees. I really appreciate your time and this excellent presentation, and I hope to find you in the next opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thanks for asking me to join. I was really happy to participate. And if you have any questions or need anything, please reach out.
Bueno, a todos nuestros asistentes, muchísimas gracias por su participación, su interés y sus preguntas. Les recuerdo que en septiembre estaremos realizando más webinars informativos para todos ustedes si están interesados en estudiar en universidades de convenio en Australia y España. Muchas gracias por su asistencia y espero verlos en una próxima ocasión. Thank you, Samantha. Goodbye.